said, first, we are separated from God because of sin. Secondly, we choose to ignore the special presence of God. This is the other answer to why we don't experience the special presence of God. You and I choose to ignore the presence of God. Even redeemed believers with the Holy Spirit within us, we can choose to ignore the special presence of God. You know this, church. Our generation is the most entertained and the most distracted generation that has ever lived, right? And we're also the most bored. Don't just take my word for it. Look at yourself. How many times do you think in your mind, I'm bored? I'm bored. We have got so much to entertain us and distract us, and we're bored. In my hand, if I held my phone in my hand, I could get access to basically every bit of information that has ever been produced in my hand, and I'm bored. I can play every game. I can basically have access to any game in my hand, and I am bored. And so are you. We are bored. And we are distracted and entertained more than anyone who has ever lived. And we're bored. You see, you and I were not created to find joy and intimacy in Facebook. And hear me. I'm on Facebook, and I check Facebook. So I'm talking to myself. You and I were not created to find joy and intimacy and communion in Facebook. We were not designed to be satisfied by Candy Crush. Right? I'm just laying it out there for real. You can play Madden NFL until you are blue in the face, and it will not satisfy you. And you can play every video game that has ever been created. It will not satisfy you. You can spend hours and hours and hours on the internet, and it will not satisfy your need for intimacy, sustaining through pain, and joy. It will not. It will not. We choose, church, we choose to ignore the special presence of God. And I'm talking to myself before I talk to you. Hear me. So how do we apply? First, if you are an unbeliever, the call is to come to a personal relationship with Jesus. Come to that relationship with Jesus. Jesus says, come to me. Not a church, not Jamie, not a religion, not a prayer, not a fad, nothing. Jesus says, come to me, Jesus. Come to me. If you're wanting to know intimacy and joy and sustaining life, come to Jesus. Secondly, if you are a believer, examine your use of distractions and entertainment. Examine your use of these distractions. Because some of us, I think, are like this. I'm talking about myself. It's like we went to the Grand Canyon, right? And we're sitting next to the Grand Canyon. You know they have that little thing that goes out on plexiglass so you can actually walk and look straight down. So you're standing there, Grand Canyon, but instead you're looking at a little crack of dirt on the other side. You're like, wow, so awesome. I can't believe I drove all the way out here for this. The Grand Canyon is right here. And whoa. You laugh. Spiritually speaking, you and I do the same thing with God. Pure joy, pure intimacy, pure love. Candy Crush. Facebook. No, God, no, I got... Church, examine the use of entertainment and distractions from God. I'm not saying they're bad things, but they are bad when they distract us from God. How much time are you spending with God as opposed to Facebook? And I'm talking to me here. thirdly, we have to confess this to the Lord. I put money down. Almost all of us are dealing with this right now. We got to confess this to the Lord. The way David puts it, the last verse of Psalm 139, last two verses, 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. This is a prayer of confession. This says, God, am I doing this? Am I so obsessed with entertainment and video games and my phone and the internet? If I am, then test me and try me. And if I am, lead me to you, the way everlasting.